What's going on, Goals Gang? You already know who it is. It's your fave Corporatepreneur Talk goes back with another. These are my confessions. Confessions of a Corporatepreneur. We on part 3. And as you may or may not know, this is a series where I basically tell y'all all my business. Like, all my business. Not even just the business, but like the business. The tea. You know what I'm saying? So, this episode, I'm gonna call it. Um, well, let me just get into it. Let me just get into what I want to talk about today. So, I want to do like a little story time, and I'll spin back to the title of the episode, even though y'all can clearly see it in the caption and whatnot. But listen, play along with me. Okay, so as you know, I've been moving and grooving and not trying, I have been transitioning over into full time entrepreneurship. And I've been taking some L's lately. And when I say L's, I mean lessons. No losses, all lessons. Anything that's considered a loss is not truly a loss unless you didn't learn anything. So I'm going to give you a story time of how I basically just recently had my worst shoot ever in the history and the planet of all shoots. Well, I'm not gonna say all shoots. I'm so sorry. Ooh, so sorry, y'all. I'm tired. I've been making content all day. Just trying to get caught up in the name of consistency and staying on top of my goals for 2025. See, look, I almost forgot what year it was. Um, but yes, circling back, there's really no such thing as a loss if you learned a lesson. And so that is basically the uh the namesake of this episode. This evening, this morning, I'm not gonna lie, it's like 1:50 a.m. And I realized that I am a bit behind on my weekly YouTube. So I decided to throw in a corporate confessions, and then we should be back on track. I gotta make one more for this upcoming Thursday, and then boom, it's lit. So yeah, worst shoot ever. So boom, check this out. So I got a text from a colleague of mine. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay, so I got a text from a colleague of mine. I am currently working part time at a studio, my home studio, the studio that I take all my clients to. Yeah, I have a job there. So we just hired this new girl, and I'm gonna keep everybody anonymous, just for privacy reasons. Uh, but I have been talking with her. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Woo. If I yawn one more time, I'm just about to describe the whole video. Just have to spin back and talk to y'all tomorrow. But yeah, me and this girl, yeah, so we're chopping it up, and then apparently she also works at another photography studio part time, and she also has like a contract or a media company with a particular like very well known brand that does events here in Atlanta. So I'm like, ooh, put me on, sis. Well, the owner of the media company. So let me back up some. So let me go back to the text message. So she sends me a text message at like 10:52 a.m. And and it's like, hey girl, are you busy later? And I'm like, I ain't gonna let it out. And I'm like, I can make myself unbusy. What's up? What do you need? She's like, I have another shoe. Basically, she was like double booked pretty much. Not necessarily wizard. Wizard. Can you let me be great, please? I'm telling you, he doesn't do like he'll just be chilling most of the time. But whenever I hop on to like talk to y'all, I mean, he just start going off. It's crazy. Is you cool? Can I finish? Can I finish my story time, please? All right, bet. So yeah. So where was I? Okay, so she texts me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, kind of like, oh, that's where I was at." So she wasn't necessarily double booked, but like, if you know anything about Atlanta traffic, around like the 5 or 6 o'clock area, somewhere it might somewhere that it might normally take you like 15 minutes to get to could take you like an hour. So like I think she didn't have enough buffer to basically get from one shoot to the other. So she asked me if I could step in. I'm like, let me gather some information first. And so she tells me later on, ends up being the lady that owns the media company that does the contracting with the big brand for event photography services. And so I'm like, ooh, okay, no pressure there, right? And so she's like, yeah, she just wants something simple. Here's the location. I'm gonna give her your information so y'all can get together. But I ended up basically getting all the information from my friend. Okay. And so that information included like it was like a TikTok of the inspo, what time, what place, um, and it wasn't supposed to be nothing too heavy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm like, just want some lifestyle photos. I got that. I could do that in my sleep. So what I did not anticipate is the client being late. So we were supposed to meet up at like 6 o'clock, which is like kind of like at right now, it's like golden hour, basically. Like the sun is setting. So we should have had about like an hour or less, a little short of an hour of like sunlight, because it's time of year. So I get there maybe 15 minutes early. I left like an hour before I needed to because again, Atlanta traffic. I'm not familiar with the area still. I don't get out as much as I would like to. So I still kind of struggle getting around. And like another thing about Atlanta, that like, um, you can mess around, get off on the wrong exit, and you don't add about 15, 20 minutes to your arrival time. So pull up, I'm messaging my friend like, "Hey, I'm here." Woo, woo, woo. Then the client is finally like messaging me because I had finally gotten her info and just shot her my name and said, "Hey, see you here at this time," just to confirm that I had the correct time and address. So she said, "See you then." I'm almost to the location though. Backing up a little bit, almost to the location. And then the client hits me up and is like, "Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be about 6:15, 6:20." I said, "Okay." So the first thing that kind of went left was I was texting the client, was letting her know, like, I was there, but I'm unfamiliar with this area and I'm so sleepy right now. I can't even remember where I was. Um, but wherever it was, I had never been before. There's a specific spot that supposedly had like some waterfall type thing. Two of them. Actually, I'm too deep in. I know I said if I was gonna, yeah, if I yawned again, I was gonna, cut it and just spin back tomorrow. But I'm too deep in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and follow through. All right, y'all bear with me. So, and she's like, "Well, I haven't never been there either." I'm like, "Oops, apologies." didn't realize that you were unfamiliar with the location. Let me connect with fill in the blank, name a friend here. So I reach out to her and I'm like, hey friend, where is this place? Because I'm at the place, but I'm not at the place within the place because it was kind of big, had multiple establishments around. So I just didn't know where exactly this waterfall type situation was. She FaceTimed me. I located it. It was fine. I let the client know. But she basically ended up pulling up about 45, 50 minutes late. Um, I mean, it's nice when people value your time. But I also understand, life happens, right? I didn't have a shoot after that. I don't even think I had anything in particular to do per se after, so I wasn't tripping. So I'm like, she pulls up, then she got heels on. She took her a minute to find a park. She just ended up like basically parking randomly. And then she was like in a rush, y'all, when she got there. And now I'm nervous. And I already let my friend know, like, hey friend, she's pretty late. So it's gonna be dark when we take these pictures, which was not the vibe of the inspo photos. But I'm like, whatever, I'll just make it shake. But I'm super nervous because I am very well skilled in, portrait photography, natural light, um, and then if I have lights with me in certain low light situations, but low light shooting or shooting at night is not like my forte necessarily. Um, so I'm super nervous, y'all. So we finally figure out what is exactly the water fountain was because my friend helped me find like the vicinity, but made it up the stairs, located the main, water source she was referring to. And so I'm looking crazy, y'all. I'm like trying to show her. I normally do sporadically show clients photos like as I'm taking them, and like her and I both noticed like, wow, these are kind of like dark. These are kind of like out of focus. So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on with why are these pictures coming out the way they are. So I try to, stall out, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let me switch my lenses. Um, so I only got two lenses, y'all. I got the kit lens, and then I got my, um, my 1.8 or whatever. So prime. So I switch over to that one, and I'm trying to call. I got two mentors, two photography mentors. I'm still looking for a videography one, but I got two photography mentors that I typically lean on when I need help with something, right? So first one I call, ring ring ring. Now mind you, it's 6ish, but people got lives and stuff like that, so I understand. But anyway, I was just hoping that telepathically they could feel my panic and answer the phone. First mentor goes to voicemail. I'm like, dang. And she's like, everything fine? I'm like, yep, everything's good. And I'm just trying to like, switch out my lenses and stuff. So like, and I don't have like necessarily the phone to my ear. I had these headphones on. I take these headphones everywhere with me, by the way. So like, so boom, switch out the lens. I call my last lifeline. And I really should have called the friend, but I didn't want my friend to be like, girl, do you know what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know her that well yet, so I was like nervous to call her for help. So I called my other mentor. She didn't answer the phone either. I was like, dang, just out here in these streets all by my lonesome. So at any rate, I do my best. In my struggle to switch lenses, I done messed around, dropped my strobe. That was another thing that went wrong. My strobe on my camera was not slaving. And what that means for those who are not photographers, there should have been a situation like a strobe is like just basically like, like a flash, like a flash, a light to help light up your scene. Well, because of the fact that like it wouldn't slave, meaning like when I take the light off, I should be able to like move it around so I can like bounce the light off of something so I can control the light better. And like my subject won't be overexposed, because at that beforehand I had the strobe wizard. What is the issue, Pa? I really gotta like look up the our pets really like kids for real. Like I heard of people kids doing this, but this is not no. I mean, he a fur child, but he's not a child. But it's like he know if I get to talking on the phone too long, or like I said, if I get to talking to y'all, he wanna come start cutting up. So aggravating. What's he? You keep throwing me off my story time. Anyways, y'all, so my strobe wasn't slaving, and where we were at, there really wasn't anything much that I could bounce my light off per se. Um, and so I had to put it back on the camera, and I put it back on the camera because the light was like pointing towards her, um, overexposed. Even whenever I was changing my settings, changing the settings on the strobe, it was just a hot mess. She was in a hurry, and she at that point was like, "Okay, this girl don't know what she's doing." But I told her, okay, I think I got at least a couple, and let's see what we can do. Man, listen, I got them photos home, and those was literally the worst photos that I've ever taken in my life ever. Like they most certainly were. Like the ones that were decent, they were like out of focus. And I in hindsight, when I looked through my settings, I did change a few things around. So like I think that I might have like identified like the issue, but ultimately, I can't go back in time and reshoot, you know what I'm saying? So the next day, well, actually, I'm talking to my friend, and I'm like, friend, I ain't gonna lie, I bombed this probably. So just to let you know, just to give you a heads up, like this is what happened. Woo, woo, woo. And then my friend was like, don't even worry about it. I mean, she was late and da da da. And I'm like, yeah, but still. I don't know why I didn't even think about that, y'all. That was like a rookie mistake too. It's like clients are often late, so why it never dawned on me that she would be late and I would have to shoot at night, I don't know. And if I had thought about it, I would have either declined the shoot altogether, or I would have like double checked my settings, um probably cross reference, like I said, because low light isn't my forte. So I probably would have watched a YouTube video or two and then brought some extra lights with me just in case. That would have been the smart thing to do. However, I didn't think about her arriving after sunset. Thought we was gonna be Gucci. Um, so I think the like I said, so I basically gave my friend a heads up. I reached out to her. I gave her my edit that night. I went straight back, tried to edit what I could. I think I took about 57 photos. Probably 22 of them was actually somewhat editable, but wasn't enough like sharpness, um that I could do, clarity, like Lightroom couldn't save it, Evoto couldn't save them, and it really wasn't nothing like salvageable that I could do. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what I ended up texting her, because I tried to get even one of my mentors to help me fix them, but the client essentially wanted the photos. That was another thing. And one thing that I forgot to ask when I took the gig was, um, what's the turnaround? Because she wanted them basically like that night if I could, or the next day or whatever. Um, and unless I don't have any other work, which is never the case, like the shortest turnaround time I can do for a client typically, without like an additional charge to like expedite, is like 72 hours. But also, not saying it makes this situation better, But it was like a trial situation, and she just intended on sending me a tip or whatever. So luckily for her, she did not make any payments towards the shoot. I'm gonna tell you. Let me see. I was gonna tell y'all what was said basically between myself and the client. I kind of drafted something, and then I put it in Chat GPT. Shout out to Chat GPT, because I really am like, and shout out to my best friend Vanessa Parrish. Um, she helped me kind of come up with something. So that between her, myself, and Chat GPT, this is the text message I came up with. After some consideration, I don't feel comfortable delivering this gallery. I completely understand if this is disappointing. I'd love to discuss how we can make this right, whether that means scheduling a reshoot or exploring other options that suits your needs. To be transparent, I don't think that any of these photos meet my usual standard of quality. Our shoot got off to a late start, which resulted in less than ideal lighting. Had I anticipated the possibility of your arrival after sunset, I would have prepared for that. I tried my best to save the images and even reached out to a couple colleagues for help. However, I don't think we were able to produce anything that was salvageable, unfortunately. I take pride in delivering work that reflects my best, and I sincerely apologize that these images fall short. I hate things didn't go as planned. I appreciate the offer to tip for my time, but of course, I would not worry about that at this point. Please let me know how you'd like to proceed, and I'm committed to ensuring you're happy with the outcome. Again, apologies for the late messages. Thank you for your understanding. So she, after that, had asked, did I show them to the friend of mine, the colleague that passed along the gig? And I said, yes, she was one of the two colleagues that I sent the photos to. And she was claiming that when she was looking through the camera, she saw at least like three good photos. And I responded that they were out of focus when you put the camera to look at. And my, friend and colleague can confirm. Now I got a little weird when she asked me was I shooting in autofocus. I guess I don't know how well versed she is in photography. Um, she seemed to know a little bit. I don't know how much, but absolutely not. Just so you know, um, I wasn't using autofocus, and I think that was probably the problem. Um, because I think recently I had went back and like put all of my stuff on manual, on some like auto. Nah, I'm a beast in these streets. I don't need no auto. You know what I mean? But that's probably where I went wrong. So I don't know. That may or may not be why she was asking that. I'm gonna ask one of my mentors and be like, why? I mean, should I be using autofocus? Like in my mind, from my understanding, you know, real photographers shoot everything manual, but hey, I might be missing something. So so anyway, I said no. She said, okay, well, I appreciate your time and effort. No worries. Thanks for your transparency. And she sent me $50 for gas and time. And I said, you really didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good night. And she really didn't have to do that because she didn't get any photos. And she took the time, late or not, she still showed up to the shoot and didn't really get any end results. But there are no losses here, only lessons. The only thing I could do from here is just realize, luckily, there has been a blind spot identified. Like I said, shooting in dark or low light situations are not my forte. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna whip my camera out every evening and shoot something, anything, and even try to set up some outside shoots or some like inside low light shoots. And because that's the only one I'll get better. Go to YouTube University and get some more like tips and tricks of other photographers who specifically have my camera because my Sony A7 III is a little different. Um, and it is what it is. I definitely did not share the photos because I literally feel like those were the worst photos I've ever taken in my life, and I would be so ashamed and embarrassed if they got into the wrong hands. So I didn't even want anybody to have possession of those photos. I even took my mentor's emails off the Dropbox. So I'm like, can't nobody see these ever. These can never see the light of day again, ever. Okay. So, but it was just a lesson. I'm not perfect. Um, I'm not the best photographer, videographer in the world, but every day I'm working towards that. And there's always somebody that's better than you, and that's the fun of it. That is the fun of it. A little healthy competition never hurt nobody. And I'm just really working towards, perfecting my craft and getting to a point where I'm like the Beyonce of content, right? That's how big I'm trying to go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only a couple years in. Like I've been dabbling for some years. Again, y'all have heard it pieces of my story. As I come on the internet and kind of give y'all a peek into my life, but I didn't really lock in until about 2 years ago. So I have grown tremendously from like the first set of images that I had, where I was literally just pointing and shooting and hoping I catch something, to like really intentionally thinking about composition, lighting, investing in mentorship, coaching, um, ebooks this, ebooks that, YouTube University, like really getting in the trenches and practicing and shooting every day, editing every day. Like I really come a long way in a short period of time, and I cannot wait to see the growth and the progress. This time next year. So we just gonna keep going crazy. If that particular client happens to see this video, hey girl, we can still do that reshoot. You saw my portfolio, like the work that I could provide. And I guarantee you, me sending you those photos was not even worth your time. So hey, but let me know if you want to do a reshoot. I got you. And so, in conclusion, I'm gonna wrap this up by saying that every loss that we face is really a lesson in disguise. It's life's way of showing us what needs to change, what needs to improve, what needs to evolve. When something doesn't go our way, it's not necessarily a signal to stop, more so as it is a chance to reflect, adjust, and come back even stronger. You feel what I'm saying? The most successful people did not win because they avoided failure. They won because they learned from it. So instead of dwelling on what's wrong, ask yourself, what did this situation teach me? Every setback is setting us up for a better comeback. So if you're willing to learn from it and keep pushing forward, you will most definitely meet your goals and become great and goated, just as Big G intended. So it was really hard to come on here and like show my belly a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and be like, you know, vulnerable with y'all. It gets real intimate in here sometimes, and but that's the point of Confessions of a Corporatepreneur, Um, and there's some more, kind of lessons I've learned over this past month. We are working on trying to get our content to convert and meeting our monthly revenue goals for goals visuals. Um, And it's been a journey. I'm essentially trying to supplement my basically what was a six-figure income at a Fortune 500 company and transition that into making that same amount of money and more in my small businesses, between Goals Visuals and my real estate investing company, Bell D&D Dynasties. So y'all stay tapped in, man. Y'all stay tuned in. And for anybody who's watched this, and especially if you watched it all the way through, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. And if you can do me a big favor, if you haven't already, please like this video, shoot me a comment, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our weekly updates. But I'm just sincerely humbled by even one person who decides to pop in for a few minutes. Like, that really means a lot. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world right now, and a lot of content out there, a lot of things competing for our attention. So if you're here and you were here for any amount of time, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope to see y'all on the next video. You already know I like to kind of end it out with a couple of sentiments, my fave sentiments. So you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And goals are most certainly free, but that hustle is always sold separately. So yeah, y'all stay tapped in, man. It's your girl Todd Goals signing out. I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye.